joining me. Oh, I need to tip my stand over then. Hello. Are you with me, Facebook? I hope so. Oh gosh, I was running around this morning. I was in a bit of a ruddy blush, as my father would say. Do you know, you familiar with, was it Reverend Spooner who invented Spoonerisms, where you get the words around the wrong way? And I think there was a famous one of some old university college where, was it Reverend Spooner stood up to give a toast, and he raised his glass to the assembled throng and said, "Let's drink a toast to our queer old dean," meaning, of course, dear old Queen. But anyway, I don't know if that's true or not, but it was quite funny. It actually reminded me of something that happened on Sunday, because it was my birthday on Sunday. Thank you for all my birthday wishes. And I had some lovely presents, including this amazing book, which might not be your cup of tea, but it's certainly mine. It's the definitive guide to the wines of Burgundy. It's like full of every intricate little label that you would want to know about. And you know me and labels, and I just am a bit of a label geek, and I just love, I've been to Burgundy, and the town of Beaune is so pretty in France. Even if you're not into the wine, then the Beaune itself is really beautiful. And yeah, this tells you all about the terroir, the soil. It's got little maps and everything. So I was super happy to get that. That's my lockdown reading. Anyway, it came in a very pretty bag. It'd been packaged in this, which is actually an Earle. I'm sorry, it's back to front. And anyway, I said, "Oh, that's a really lovely shopping bag. Thank you." And I think it was my brother maybe who was joining us on Zoom or something. Kind of said, "Oh yes, a shopping bag," only he didn't say shopping bag, he got it the wrong way round, which made us all laugh a lot. So from now on, these kind of items in my household are not going to be called shopping bags, they're going to be called something else. Anyway, I shall leave that to you to work out, because it's far too rude for me to mention it on the airwaves. But what I thought I would do today is just kind of join you guys in the kitchen for a chat, because so often I have it in my head that I really want to talk about something, whether it's menopause injustice or whether it's talking about some specific health subject like histamine, or showing everybody how to make yogurt or kefir or whatever. And there's obviously a lot of that I can do, and I'm very happy to do some of that today as well. But I just thought it might be nice to connect, because I can see here, I've got two little phones, that's how it works. I have them on stands, which is why everything comes out backwards, because you're on my phone. So I've kind of had to flip my phone to do these things. So it's not at all, professional setup, and it's just me with these little phone stands and a little light behind. And I can see all these lovely comments coming in, and I can see everybody also chatting and having their own community. It's like this whole Is Our Wellbeing community is being created wherever we are, all the way around the globe. I know we've got friends in Australia and in America and in Canada and Cyprus and Spain and Kenya and Italy and all over. So welcome to my kitchen here in the heart of the West Country. And I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere, really, just a bit further down from Stonehenge, and keep going, and that's where I am. And I've been here since the beginning of lockdown. I'm actually thinking of heading back to my studios at some point, just me, to reopen them and do some work up there. So let's see how that goes. That'll be interesting. That's in southwest London, so I'll keep you posted on that. But I think, wherever I am, I hope to be able to keep doing these if that's something that would be fun. And I think, one of the great joys, genuinely has been to connect with so many people and to put out helpful information, to get feedback. It's really nice to have two-way, even though I can't hear physically what you're saying. And maybe in the future we'll be able to do that. Maybe we'll be able to have phone-ins or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I imagine that when it's not just me and my phone, we might be able to do this in a slightly better way. But I can actually scroll through here. Hi, Harry. Oh, yeah, and then you distract us. You see, you're absolutely right. I think about something and then it just goes, "Hi, this is from Debbie, watching from my kitchen with my daughter Beatrice. Hi, nice to be multi-generational." So Kim is saying, "Where's everyone from?" We've got Scotland. We've got, "Hi, Liz's Lovelies." Oh, I like that. Liz's Lovelies. Yeah, we should have that as a name, shouldn't we? And this is from Liverbird, who says, "I'm sitting in the sunshine on the Algarve." Liz's Ladies. This is a suggestion from Linda. We've got joining us from Harrogate, London. Hi. Oh, New York. Very good. Lincolnshire. Brilliant. Isn't that amazing? Just lovely. And I think, one from The Hague, brilliant. Birmingham, brilliant. Do you know, I think it just shows, doesn't it, that no matter where we are or who we are or what age or stage of life we're at, there is this real kind of commonality that we can all share, particularly at the moment, obviously, because we're all facing, the same threat and the same conditions or very similar conditions. I know my friends in Italy are having a little bit more freedom now, which is great. But, particularly for women, I think I imagine we're 99% women. If there are any guys out there that want to give us a little wave, then please do, don't be shy. But I think a lot of the things that I try and talk about at Liz Earle Wellbeing are very much experiences that I think, if I find them interesting and useful and valuable, chances are that other people are going to as well. I think that's probably what got me started with the whole menopause journey. And funnily enough, I was doing an interview yesterday with a journalist who's working on an investigative documentary, which is going to be amazing if and when that happens next year. Fingers crossed it will, because it's blowing a lot of this bad stuff out of the water, which is what we need. I was talking about my history. She asked me how I got involved and why I so often spoke so passionately about it. And I said, it's really interesting because when I first started to write about menopause, which was probably about 5 years ago maybe, I was a bit shy of it. I thought, I don't really want to put that word out there and be associated with it because it's got such a negative association, or at least it had up until then. I think that is changing now. Do I really want people to go, oh, look at Liz Earle, she's menopausal? Whereas now, it's like, you just can't switch me off, can you? Once it's like a Duracell bunny, once I'm going, it's like banging that drum and I'm going to carry on. And I think the more we can share good information, I had a lovely connection from an Irish menopause group. Hi there, over in Dublin. I'm not sure if you're watching me, but thank you for your messages. And I know you've been emailing HQ at Liz Earle Wellbeing with links to information that's coming through. Unfortunately, it's the repeat of Lancet guidelines that we know were wrong, that were published last year. But unfortunately, these are being put out to GPs now in Ireland, saying don't give women HRT, it causes breast cancer, it's, you have the lowest dose for the shortest time, blah, 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 all this stuff that we know is wrong. And it's just tragic. And I've interestingly also been in touch since I did my tirade last week, which is still up. If you haven't seen it, excuse me coughing. If you haven't seen it, it's last Thursday's Instagram Live, which is also on Facebook, and it's saved. And I just go on for about an hour talking. And as a result of that, I did ask if there were any lawyers out there that could help. And I've had several responses from people both in regulatory medicine control and also in the legal profession. So very interesting. Watch this space, that's all I can say. And if you would like to know more, then just make sure that you're part of this community. Make sure that you're signed up to the Liz Earle Wellbeing newsletter, which comes out free every Friday at tea time. It'll pop into your inbox and it's just full of good stuff. And what we try and do is put a lot of the news and special offers and discounts and competitions and all that kind of lovely stuff that goes on as well. We put that in the newsletter. So our newsletter subscribers should see that first before it kind of goes live, generally, usually at the weekend. So if you're not signed up to it, I know Amy, thank you, darling, on Facebook, you'll pop the link in there. But guys, on Instagram after this, just go to lizearlewellbeing.com. There's one of the little drop-down things is subscribe to newsletter, and it's completely free, doesn't cost anything, and if you don't like it, you just unsubscribe. We don't spam you or sell your data or do anything nasty like that, because we're not like that. No, we're nice guys here. We behave properly. At least I hope we do. Always try to. You can never get everything right all the time, but I think if you're well-intentioned, that's the best thing, isn't it? Just do the best that you can be transparent, be honest, be straightforward, and that's what we try and do. And in fact, I was looking through some of my old copies of the magazine because I've got news, so don't go away because there is news to share at the end. And we actually put a while back on the actual cover of the magazine, sorry it's backwards, wellness wisdom you can trust, and I really do hope that we stand by that. We try and be evidence-based, and we don't follow fads. We're not full of all the latest fashions and ideas, because if something goes in fashion very strongly one way, the chances are it'll be out of fashion very soon. So I would always much rather steer the middle course. Always try and be very well balanced, be open and pick up on new ideas and resources and things. But a lot of this stuff is things I've been talking about for so many decades now. It seems crazy, doesn't it, say decades, but that's the truth of it. Eat low sugar, have good quality fats and oils in your diet, take some exercise, look after your hormones, look after your mental health, take some exercise, look after your gut health, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, let's crack on with a few questions, because I've got my iPad here, which thankfully with modern technology means that I can connect with everybody on here because Amy updates it. Oh, thanks. This is from Ruby, who says, absolutely love these chats. Thank you for giving your time to share such great info and knowledge. I'm off to subscribe to your magazine and will buy your book on gut health. Thanks, Liz. Well, I hope you enjoy that, Ruby. I genuinely do. I think this is quite a good time to get to grips with health information. If you want to start a new regime, if you want to do a bit of a gut cleanse, if you want to repopulate your gut with good bacteria, this is a good time to do it. So it's certainly a good time to read up about it. Lots of free information on my website. There's a whole section on gut health, actually, if you haven't looked at that before. This is from Helen, says, hi Liz, thank you. My January, February 2019 and Spring 18 magazines arrived yesterday. So those are the back issues. You can get some back issues on the website. Love your magazine. They feel more like a luxurious book, and I love to read them in a quiet corner of the garden with a cup of coffee. Excellent. I wonder if that's New Ground Coffee. New Ground Coffee is that these are the guys I mentioned last week. I think I introduced them to you, and they are sustainable, just brilliant new business based in Oxford, and they work with ex-offenders, so prisoners coming out of prison. And we know statistically that in order to make society better, to rehabilitate ex-offenders, that if you can give them skills training and a job, then they can become contributing members of society, and that's good for everybody. So they train them to roast coffee beans and all of that, and it's a really nice charity. And we've got 20% off everything on their website, so you can get it sent to you in the post, and that's newgroundcoffee.com, using Liz Loves as your code. Okay, so, oh dear, this is from Julie on Facebook. She says, where do I begin? Here is a good place. Yeah, it's good to share, isn't it? So let's just start, okay? Just start to talk. Today I had a phone consultation with a female doctor. I told her all my symptoms: brain fog, outbursts, headaches, dry itchy skin, dizziness, anxiety. She asked if I still had my womb. Yes, I have. Do I have sweats? No, but I have flushes and I've woken up a bit warm. She said she wants blood tests to make sure nothing medical is going on. She also wants me to have a 24-hour ECG to carry around to make sure my heart is okay. She said my symptoms are not conclusive menopausal symptoms at the age of 60. I'm too old to have HRT. I'm a high risk of strokes and cancer. They do not prescribe HRT over the age of 55. Oh, this is so wrong. This is so wrong. This is supposed to be a friendly, warm chat, and I'm being wound up already. I mentioned Dr. Louise Newson and yourself to her and the work of you both, but she just wasn't interested. Okay, so if possible, it might be worth talking to a different GP if you've got more than one GP at your practice. It is worth sending copies of the NICE guidelines. It's worth taking information from Dr. Louise Newson's website, menopausedoctor.co.uk. Lots of prescribing guidelines there. Obviously for older women, you can start HRT at an older age, but it does need to be generally with a doctor who's experienced in this. My mum has gone back onto HRT aged 80, and she's very happy for me to mention that and talk about it as a hope and a lifeline perhaps to others. But yeah, this is just, I mean, I get messages like this every day, virtually every hour. And I hugely sympathise, and it's partly what I do, why I do what I do. And I wrote, for example, this e-guide. There are two of them, which are quite a good starting point if you need to know a bit more, because knowledge is power. And I think when we're feeling anxious and vulnerable, and we're talking to somebody, a figure of authority like a GP, who just comes back with a no, it kind of really takes the wind out of your sails, and you've got to be feeling really robust, haven't you, to be able to stand your ground and say, no, actually, you are a service provider, and I have read my research, and this is my body, and it's my choice, and this is what the NICE guidelines say, and actually I'd like to be treated in accordance with the NICE guidelines. So if you wouldn't mind just taking a look at this, and then I'll come back and we'll chat again about it once you've had a chance to review it, okay? That's all you need to do. And very often a GP, particularly the good ones, will read it and go, actually, that's really interesting. I wasn't aware of that because I didn't get that in my training. Anyway, so this is The Truth About Menopause, which is an e-guide. It's a good starting point, kind of start of a 10. And then The Truth About HRT, which is much more in-depth, specifically on HRT. And there's a whole section in here about how to talk to your GP and the resources that are available, the kind of things that you might want to mention, the climactic score table that you can send into your GP in advance that shows all your symptoms, and worst case, how to make a complaint, how then to escalate it. But of course, that's not what we want to do. We don't want to be making complaints and having to sue people. We don't want that. What we want is good, credible information and proper care, which we have paid for with our taxes and we are entitled to. So anyway, I'm not going to go any more on that. But thank you, Julie, for your question. And I'm so sorry that you are still struggling. Of course, you can still go privately to the menopause doctor. They're doing online consultations. They've got lots of GPs. I think they've got 12 or 13 doctors now working. Plus, they've got nurses, practice nurses, and it costs a bit less to see one of their nurse practitioners online. So you can have chats and they are able to prescribe and they're able to liaise with your own doctor and say, actually, I've consulted with this patient and these are my recommendations as a specialist. So you can continue your care there on the NHS. They're not like one of these profiteering clinics where they want you to go back month after month and keep paying them. No. They want to see lots of women, as many women as possible, get them sorted, get them out the door, and so they can help more women. So they're very happy to work with NHS doctors. Okay, this is from Dawn, just very quickly. I'm just reading my way through your book, The Good Menopause Guide. I absolutely love it. Really enjoying your recipes. They're changing my diet and meal times. Well, that's great. You know, this is a good time. I think people overall are cooking more. They're becoming a bit more experimental. I think one of the few benefits of this is that we are not perhaps relying so much on fast food. I mean, certainly here in the countryside, we don't have any fast food. So, you know, good luck if you want a pizza, because that's very unlikely to happen. I know if you're in an urban environment, there are lots of fast food places that obviously, and restaurants that are delivering, which is great. And it's really good to be able to keep those businesses going too, but also to have a bit more time perhaps to cook from scratch. I should say actually that if talking cooking from scratch, if you've got the current magazine, this is the current one, there are some really good recipes in that cooking from scratch. This is actually something that I've just earmarked, which I'm going to have for my lunch or my brunch. It's super easy. It doesn't actually need a recipe because it's so straightforward, and it's part of a feature that we've got on extra virgin olive oil. And this is char grilled asparagus. So asparagus season is obviously right now. Asparagus, it'll never be a better time to buy asparagus because there's lots of it around. So it really comes down in price. And this is with extra virgin olive oil and then some unpasteurised goat's cheese just crumbled on the top. And then a dressing, really easy dressing to make for this, which I'll share with you, which is extra virgin olive oil. And then you can either use cider vinegar, and you can make your own apple cider vinegar. Those of you who've got my Good Gut Guide book will know that you can make it really easily just from apples and water, or kombucha. So if you've got kombucha on the go, you can use it to make a dressing. It's really good. It's got that slightly vinegary taste. So mix your extra virgin olive oil with a little bit of kombucha or a little bit of cider vinegar. And I tend to do 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar. You can obviously vary it, personal preference, but I don't like things too vinegary. So I do mostly oil with just a little hint of kombucha or vinegar. So that is really good. But also in here, if I look in my recipe finding section, recipe index, here we go. These are all the lovely recipes that are in this current issue. And on page 73, we have a recipe for sourdough pizza. How cool is that? Make your own sourdough. Takes a bit of time, but that's one of the few things we've got at the moment, isn't it? Time. And you too can be enjoying your own sourdough pizza. Isn't that great? So if you haven't got this, it is in the shops. If you're able to get to supermarkets, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Waitrose, Marks and Spencer's, that's where you'll find it. Otherwise, you can have it sent to you. Warner's, who are our subscription service, there's 30% off at the moment with free P&P. Or you can get single issues, or you can also download it. There's a digital edition, so wherever you are in the world, you can download it straight away. So that is quite handy. A couple of other things actually in this issue that I wanted to pick up on and highlight if you weren't already aware. One is this amazing offer that we have with the Real Juice Company. Where are they? Healthy Juice Company, sorry. I had it here and I've lost it. And this is, I know lots of you have ordered this already. It's the shot box. And I have known Rosie, who makes these amazing juices, for a while now. That's what it looks like in the ad. It's also on the news, on the website, if you haven't got the magazine. And when all this started, I was aware that I was having shots of good things. So like turmeric, you can buy turmeric shots, and you can buy cold pressed nut milks that, you know, made out of organic ingredients, and they're really quite expensive. And I thought it would be great to do a little specific shot box using amazing quality organic cold pressed ingredients. So Rosie, bless her, in her little industrial kitchen, hand presses all of this. There's no preservatives, and it doesn't get processed, doesn't get pressure treated. You might have heard me talk about this before, where some of the ways that some of the juice companies get round preserving their products without having to declare a preservative on the label is they pressurize them. And it's the equivalent amount of pressure of kind of dropping them down to the bottom of the deep blue sea. And that can kill off some of the bacteria, which means that they are likely to have a longer shelf life, or they will have a longer shelf life. So one of the ways, this is not labelled on the bottle, so it's very difficult, and it may say no preservatives, because technically it doesn't contain any preservatives, but what are the treatments it may have undergone to preserve it? It's like irradiation. We don't know necessarily whether food or spices or whatever have been irradiated, because it won't always tell us. So Rosie's juices are completely fresh, and they are all organic, and they're all packed in glass, which is really good. One of the ways to tell actually if a juice has been treated in this way, you can't pressure treat a juice that's packed in glass. So if a juice is in glass and it says it's cold pressed and it's fresh, chances are that that's exactly what it is. If it's packaged in plastic, because you have to pressurize them once they're packed, so you fill the bottles with plastic bottles with your juices, and then you put them under this high pressure treatment. And of course it means that you've got more plastic, haven't you, going into the environment. So, you know, in both ways, I don't think it's a particularly good idea. So we worked on this little shot box that you can either get as a daily dose, or you can get a 3-day supply. This is one of the ones that I love. I just love this colour. This is the golden shot, and this is the turmeric that's in there, and it's got ginger and lots of good things. And then there's a green one. Give that a bit of a shake. That's your green juice, which is sort of green veggies and green apple. It's got watercress, high amount of vitamin C in that. And then this one, which I have to say, I think this one's possibly my favourite. This is the almond chia seed, and it's got cinnamon in it. I talked about cinnamon yesterday being an antiviral ingredient that's being looked at the moment. I'm doing research on that at the moment, so I hope to be able to share a bit more with you. But I just love the flavour of this, and it's got quite a natural sweetness to it, although it's incredibly low in natural sugars. It's a real nice treat to have. And so you get those 3, plus you get your little bag of ground almond pulp, what's left over from making the almond milk, so nothing goes to waste. So you can use that in the bath and as a body rub. It's a really lovely thing. And then you also get a sachet of this high strength probiotic, VSL3. These are really expensive, these little sachets, and they are really good. I've used them often, actually. They're one of my favourites. And also you get a sachet of vitamin C, which is the liposomal vitamin C, and liposomal vitamin C has been shown to be incredibly well absorbed. I've got more about it on the Earle Wellbeing website, because I was asked at the beginning of all this to write the kinds of things that I take myself personally to support my immune system, and one of them is vitamin C in the right form. So if you want to, Amy, I know you'll do a link on that, but this is on the website. If you search Liz Immune Support or something, it pops up and it tells you all about vitamin C. Anyway, you can buy these as well. This is my box here that I've got. Ultranutrient C comes in little sachets, but you do get one of those in your shot box. So I know many of you have already had that. So if you've got any feedback, I'd love to hear about what you think about it, and just juicing in general, really. So that is in the magazine. I've got some of my birthday cards here. Did you see on my stories? I hope you caught Anthea singing to me, my lovely friend Anthea Turner. And she sent me such a lovely message. And I called her afterwards. I said, do you mind if I pop this on my stories? Because I think it's really fun. It would be a nice thing to share. And she said, no. She said, I might get a recording contract. So I think you might, Anthea. So I did put it on my stories. I think it sadly disappeared, but it was a really good one. And she said, I think the card that I put in the post to you has not arrived yet, which it hasn't still. So she sent me a message instead. But some of my other cards I've got here, which are just lovely to see. So thank you to all my friends and fam who have sent these. This I love. This is from a friend of mine who is in Kenya, and she managed to get this one. You see these lovely flamingos. And I used to live, my old family home was on the edge of Lake Naivasha, which it's actually on the edge of the little lake. Lake Naivasha has a big lake, and then there's a little lake attached to it, which is a soda lake, and it's an alkaline lake, and that's where the flamingos like to go. So the flamingos breed in alkaline conditions. They feed on the algae that only grows in alkaline water. And sometimes the flamingos would come in, and I love flamingos. There's an amazing book actually called Pink Africa. If you want a special treat, I'm not sure if it's still in print. I'm sure you can find it. It's called Pink Africa. It's beautiful. It's a big coffee table book. And hello, I'm just doing my live. They never learn. Never. 12:30 till 1 every day. For what? 9 weeks. Except Sundays. Sorry about that. Maybe they're telling me it's time to shut up. But anyway, so the flamingos, they come in, and they're really clever flamingos because they go from lake to lake to feed and to breed. So they'll come in and they'll swoop down, they'll drop in for a few months at a time, and then they'll all head off again. So you never know really whether you're going to see them or not. And what normally happens is they send out a scout. So you normally see 1 or 2 flamingo that will come in, and they'll kind of do a circle around the lake, and they'll have a look, and they'll see, and they'll check it out. Probably they're looking with their little beady eyes to check for algae and things. And then they'll fly back to wherever they've come from, and then a day or 2 later, suddenly the air is just filled with like this pink flapping cloud, and it's the flamingos coming in, and they'll just fly, they'll circle around like this, and then they all come into land. I have to see if I can find any pictures actually on my phone from when I've been over there, and it's just extraordinary. And when they all land and they cover the lake is like pink. They just turn it pink, and as we know, pink is one of my favourite colours. This is an Asquith number, those of you who are asking. So this is one of the batwing, which I just love. Gosh, they're so comfortable. Could live, sleep in this, never have to get changed, just have a pyjama day, but actually kind of look a bit presentable all day. It's a great British brand. I love them, and they make a lot of their clothes out of bamboo fibre, and there is 20% off, I think, with the code Liz Loves. Let me just double check. We do put all our codes and things in the links, either on Facebook or on Liz Earle Wellbeing. If you go, actually, it's quite a good page to know about. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but on Liz Earle Wellbeing, it's not easy to find because it's kind of buried in the website at the moment. But if you key in Liz Loves, it will bring up a page of all the offers and discount codes. So all the things I've talked about over recent weeks, chocolate and travel wraps and fashion and gym kit and coffee and you name it, it's up there. Saffron, crocus extracts for anxiety, all of that stuff, it's all up there. The good question here from May on Facebook says, can I use live yogurt bought from the shop as a starter? Yes, you can. And I'm really glad that you've mentioned yogurt, because I've been making my own yogurt. I've actually discovered the way to make your yogurt set, and that is I've been using a yogurt maker. And I put a link actually, and I've done a little feature on making your own yogurt online. And they're not expensive, and they're really good because what they do is they keep the yogurt at a constant temperature. And they keep it really still because it's just in a little container. And you get 6 or 7 of these little glass jars. And I made this morning, so it's not quite set yet. But of course, this then gives you a little glass jar of yogurt, and you just keep these in the fridge. I mean, it's genius. And of course, there's no plastic, which is really good. I made this morning, and I actually had a little bit too much. I've made too much for all my jars. So I found, because I always keep my old coffee cups, if I've been out and about drinking coffee and I forget my reusable cup, then I always make sure that I do at least keep my cardboard ones and don't throw it away. And that's actually a McDonald's one. My goodness, maybe that was one of my children doing the same thing. I can't remember buying that, but anyway, at least they use organic milk. So this is something I just used in there. So I'm setting my yogurt in these containers so I can just reuse them as as a pot. And I find that actually if you're making yogurt in small batches, in smaller amounts, it tends to set. It tends to set more easily than if you just make it in one big dish. It can be a bit runny. Oh, this is from 80s pop fan. Love your hair, Liz. Thank you very much. My hair is, don't look too closely because I've got a load of root touch-up powder in it, but because I'm so in need of a visit to the hairdresser. Honestly, I hear that Italy is reopening the hair salons. It's almost worth getting on a plane, isn't it? No, that's a joke. Obviously, it's not worth that. But yes, I did do a tutorial. I think, it's been the most popular tutorial to date on YouTube that I've done, which is bizarre. It's just how I style my hair. So my hair's actually getting quite long. I might have to take the scissors to it soon. But yeah, I use a flat hair styler, like a flat hair straightener, but I give it a twist. Anyway, that's on Amy. I know that you'll put a link up to that, and it's on Instagram. You guys will find it, I'm sure, or it's on YouTube. You subscribing to YouTube? Have you found the Earle Wellbeing channel yet? What I've been doing recently is linking up my phone or my iPad or whatever to the TV and actually watching quite a lot of stuff. There's some really fun things on YouTube. There's all the funny stuff. There's all the usual kind of cat videos and all of that. But there are actually some really good people doing really good chats and interviews and stuff on YouTube. And my two youngest actually, who are home, do Joe Wicks in the morning at 9 o'clock, and that's quite fun. And they've managed to get that, I think, link from the iPad to the TV. So, when I'm here first thing in the morning, I will watch them working out, or sometimes join them, actually. Oh, thanks, Amy, you've popped that up. That's really great. Lots of chat. Jackman Lisa, did you find a lawyer? I'm working on it. Watch this space. Lots of lovely comments. Watching from Tasmania. What's the weather like in Tasmania? And what time of day are you? You're behind us? No, you're ahead of us. You've had your day, haven't you? So is this the end of your day? Is this just before bedtime? I think the Americans are behind us. Oh, Sarah Green PR, so upset. Last week I was told by a female GP that HRT very dangerous and shouldn't be given to women over 55. I'm not yet 50 and just beginning perimenopause. I'm so sorry. That is incorrect information. You should be able to find another GP that is hopefully better informed, but that is wrong. But as I said before, we can't bash the GPs. I don't want to bash GPs. I love GPs. You guys do an amazing job in the main. And it's not your fault that you don't have access to this information. And that's what we're trying to change. We're trying to go right the way back to the trainers, the regulators, to make sure that this information is correct. Because it's really hard. If you're a GP and you're looking at the computer screen and the computer screen is telling you, don't prescribe this because it's going to cause clots, or be bad for somebody with migraine, then, it's going to take a very brave GP, isn't it, that says, actually, I know that's not true. Therefore, I am going to prescribe it. So, we can't blame. We mustn't shoot the messenger, but we must make sure the message is correct. Can I make yogurt with soya milk? Do you know, Angela, I have never tried. It would be interesting. You'd need a live starter culture, but I guess if you've got the live culture, you could certainly give it a go. I'm not sure what the texture would be like, but I'd love to hear about that. Is one small glass of kefir and one small glass of kombucha a day enough to keep your gut happy? And that's from Linda. Well, it depends how unhappy your gut is, I suppose. This is not an exact science, and a lot of it's trial and error. And if you don't have very much in the way of good bacteria, having that to start with will probably be more than enough. Because you can also get an overgrowth if your gut is suddenly exposed to a lot of fermented foods. You can kind of get bloating, and you can get the kind of the reverse effect of actually what you want. So it's worth reading up on it. Head to lizellewellbeing.com and have a look on the gut health section. That does talk a lot about it. This is I'm in my 40s, don't have white strands on my roots. Well done, I do. Another message here from Sarah. Awful, not right. Change your doctor. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Thank you for all your messages. You guys are so nice. You really, really are. Thank you. Tried the balls you made, and oh my, they were delicious. Helped with my sugar craving mid-afternoon. Yeah, it's good to get off that stuff, isn't it? Just making my kefir and banana smoothie. Brilliant. Don't mention balls. No, I know it is a slippery slope. What with those and the nuts and my shopping bag, I mean, we're just, what can I say? Right, guys, I'm obviously getting the message from my family that they want to come into the kitchen, and so I had better leave. Just to say, I promised you news. So, I talked about recipes and back issues. Well, one of the benefits of being here at the farm is that I have been having a big sort out. And I keep finding boxes of previous copies of the magazine. And I don't have many, okay, so you're going to have to be quick. But we've put together a little package today. We've got 26 of them, okay? 26 of them have been loaded onto the website. And they're 4 back issues. So basically you just pay for 3 of them, and I pop an extra one in free just as a little present from me. And I worked out that between them here, you have 176 new recipes. Isn't that amazing? Because this one here, this issue is Summer 18. Don't know if you've got this one. This has 35 recipes on it, and it also talks about HRT, so there's quite a good feature in there as well. Plus fixes for leaner legs, brilliant ways to whiten teeth. I mean, lots of good stuff. If you haven't read that one, if you have, get it anyway and pop it through a neighbour's door or share it with somebody who needs a bit of a cheer up. This one is Summer 17. This has got 45 recipes in it, and it's got... Oh, this is actually talking about eyebrows, interestingly, and I think this has got Joe Wicks in it because it talks about simple ways to stay slim. Also hormones, you saw I was talking about hormones back then. This one is Spring 17. This is a really sweet issue, actually. This has got 40 recipes in it. And of course, they're all seasonal because they're all to do with spring and summer right now. And there's also talking about gut foods, gut health, and pelvic floor. So that's a really good feature that you might want to read. And this one, gosh, this was a bumper issue. This was Summer 2016, 56 recipes in here. So amazing. And it talks about cellulite and, again, gut health and floral crafts and all sorts. So I just thought I'd share that with you. So I've got 26 packages, and I've been making them up with my boys in the farm office, and we will put them in a little cardboard envelope and send them off. But once they're gone, they are gone, but worth grabbing. And of course, if you have got back issues, why don't you grab them all together, try and keep them together. One of the reasons I think that they last so well is the quality of the paper. I actually print them on paper which is equivalent to a book, so they're not printed on any old flimsy paper. They really are designed to last and not get thrown out. So hopefully you will love them and keep them and treasure them. A lot of these recipes you will also find in my yearbooks, plus loads of other things. That's yearbook 1 and yearbook 2. And I have these here also at the farm, which I also sign my books. All my books that come out here from the farm are signed by me. And my boys and I, we take them to the local postmistress in the village, who's doing a great job at sending them all out. So thank you very much for being with me. Lovely to chat. Love you guys. It's just really such a nice community. Thank you for being there for each other, and for just connecting. And I hope to see you same time, same place tomorrow. Or maybe not same place, maybe from my studios. Let's see how it goes. But anyway, sending lots of love. Keep the chat coming, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye bye.